Welcome back, deep divers. Today we're taking a look at a gardener named Eng. They blog at qianmeng.org.
Oh, I've seen that blog.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really something. Not just gardening. They've got like over 2,000 posts about all sorts of things.
I know, right? Software development, dieting, book reviews.
It's wild.
But we're focusing on their gardening today.
Of course. Of course.
Specifically, Eng's having a bit of an issue with whiteflies, which isn't that unusual for gardeners, but these whiteflies are being super picky.
Picky.
Yeah, they're only interested in some of Eng's habanero seedlings, not all of them.
Really?
Mm.
Huh. That is unusual. Whiteflies usually, well, they'll go after just about anything.
I know, right? So to give you a little background, whiteflies are these tiny insects.
Like they lay their eggs on the undersides of leaves, and then the nymphs hatch and feed on the plant's sap.
Exactly. And they can really weaken a plant, especially seedlings.
Yeah, if you have a big infestation, it can be a real problem.
And Eng's actually dealt with them before. A while back, they had a morning glory that became like a trap plant for the whiteflies.
A trap plant.
Yeah, they were all over it, but then unfortunately,
It's died.
it did. So now it seems like the whiteflies are looking for a new home, and they've set their sights on these habanero seedlings.
Interesting. But why only some of them?
Exactly. That's what we're trying to figure out. Eng has a couple of theories. Want to hear them?
Absolutely. Lay them on me.
All right, so theory number one is what Eng calls the ideal environment theory. Basically, they noticed that the whiteflies are most interested in the biggest, tallest habanero seedling.
Well, that makes sense. More leaves means more surface area for laying eggs, more shelter for the nymphs.
Right, it's like the whiteflies are going for the penthouse suite.
Exactly.
But the thing is, there are other seedlings. They're not as big, but there's still plenty of room.
That's true. So why aren't they interested in those?
That's where theory number two comes in, the weakened plant theory. Eng thinks that maybe that taller seedling was a bit stressed out. There was a heat wave recently, and they might not have watered it enough.
Ah, so a little bit of a drought situation.
Yeah, and I know from my own gardening, even a little neglect can really stress out a plant.
Oh, absolutely. Especially during a heat wave.
And here's where it gets really interesting. When plants are stressed, they actually change their internal chemistry. Like they release these compounds almost like a distress signal.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and some people think that those compounds might actually attract pests, like whiteflies.
So it's like the plant is accidentally calling for help, but the wrong kind of help is answering.
Exactly. It seems counterintuitive, right? You'd think a stressed plant would want to avoid attention.
You would, yeah. So what are these compounds? What exactly are they releasing?
Well, there are a bunch of different ones, but some of the most common are called terpenes. They're kind of like perfumes for plants. And whiteflies are really sensitive to certain types of terpenes.
So they're sniffing out the weakest link.
Basically, it makes you wonder, is there anything we can do to, like, mask those scents?
There are definitely strategies. Companion planting can be really effective. Certain plants release terpenes that repel whiteflies.
Like what?
Basil and marigolds, for example.
Yeah.
Planting those near your more vulnerable plants can help confuse those whiteflies.
So, like, throwing them off the scent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But speaking of vulnerable plants, I'm curious, what are some other signs that a plant is stressed? Besides just wilting.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, wilting is obviously a big one. It means the plant isn't getting enough water.
Right. But what about other things?
Discoloration is another sign. If the leaves are turning yellow or brown, that could be stress from lack of nutrients or maybe even disease.
Okay, anything else?
Stunted growth. If your plants aren't growing as much as they should be, that could be a sign of stress too.
Got it. So basically, just got to keep a close eye on your plants.
Exactly. The earlier you catch those signs, the better. But going back to those picky whiteflies, I want to unpack that ideal environment theory a bit more, especially the whole life cycle thing.
You mean about the eggs and the nymphs?
Yeah. I mean, a bigger plant obviously offers more hiding places for the nymphs, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's like choosing between a mansion and a studio apartment.
I like that analogy. So it's not just about food, it's about protection too.
Right. The nymphs are vulnerable. They need a safe place to develop. And a bigger plant can support a bigger population too, of course.
More space, more resources.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting. Whiteflies are social insects. They like to congregate.
So the bigger the population, the more attractive it becomes to other whiteflies.
Yeah, there's a feedback loop. As the population grows, they release more of those terpenes, which attracts even more whiteflies.
It's like a whitefly party that just keeps getting bigger.
Exactly. So in a way, both of Eng's theories could be contributing to the selective infestation.
Yeah, the bigger seedling is both more attractive and might be sending out a stronger signal. It's a perfect storm for whiteflies. But I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about something you mentioned earlier, preventative care. You said that keeping plants healthy can help minimize pest problems. Can you elaborate on that? What can gardeners do to give their plants the best defense?
Yeah, it's really all about building a strong immune system for your plants. Like when they're healthy and thriving, they can fight off pests and diseases much better.
So, where do we start? How do we boost that plant immunity?
Well, the soil's a great place to start. It's the foundation, literally, for plant health.
Yeah, healthy soil, healthy plants, I get that. But I always thought it was more about nutrients, not so much about, pests.
It's both, really.
Mm.
A healthy soil is teeming with beneficial microbes. Yeah,
Microbes.
tiny little organisms. They're like a microscopic army defending the plant roots from
So
invaders.
how do they do that?
Well, some of them compete with harmful pests, like for resources. Others produce compounds that inhibit the growth of pathogens, so it's harder for diseases to take
So
hold.
they're like fighting the bad guys on multiple fronts.
Exactly. And some microbes can even directly attack and kill harmful pests.
Wow, it's like a whole microscopic war zone down there.
It is, and it's amazing how much they can help protect the plant.
So how do we encourage these beneficial microbes to, set up camp in our soil?
Compost. Adding compost is a great way to introduce a whole bunch of organic matter and beneficial microbes.
Makes sense. What about mulch?
Mulch is great too. It helps retain moisture, regulates soil temperature, creates a nice, cozy environment for those microbes.
Okay, so compost and mulch. Got it. And I'm guessing using a bunch of chemical fertilizers and pesticides is probably a bad idea.
You got it. Those can actually harm the beneficial microbes, disrupt the whole balance of the soil ecosystem.
So it's like we want to work with nature, not against it.
Exactly. It's all about balance.
So soil health is crucial. But what about other preventative care? You mentioned Ang's habanero seedling might not have gotten enough water.
Right, watering is super important. Consistent, deep watering helps plants develop strong root systems.
Yeah, and keeps them hydrated, especially during those hot summer months.
Definitely. But overwatering can be a problem too.
Oh yeah, I've definitely been guilty of that.
It happens. Soggy soil can lead to root rot and other issues, which weakens the plant and makes them more vulnerable to pests.
So it's all about finding that balance, right? Not too dry, not too wet.
Exactly. Goldilocks zone for watering.
Okay, soil, water. What else?
Nutrients. Plants need a balanced diet, just like us.
I never thought about it like that. So how do we know what nutrients they need?
Soil testing is a good idea. It tells you what your soil is lacking and what kind of fertilizer to use.
And I'm guessing organic fertilizers are the way to go.
They're a good option. They release nutrients slowly, more like what happens naturally in the soil.
So it's all about mimicking nature, working with those natural processes.
Exactly. It's a more sustainable approach.
Okay, so we've got soil health, watering, nutrients. It seems like a lot to keep track of. But even with all of that, can we ever really, completely eliminate pests?
Honestly, probably not. Pests are a natural part of the ecosystem.
They're always going to be out there lurking.
Right. But by focusing on preventative care, we can make our gardens much less hospitable to them.
So it's about making our plants strong and resilient rather than trying to wipe out every single pest.
Exactly. It's a shift in mindset, really.
It's like we're creating a garden that's tough but fair. Plants can thrive, but pests are kept in check.
I like that analogy. But going back to Ang's observation for a moment, we've talked about why those whiteflies might be so selective, but is it possible that there are other things going on? Things we haven't even considered?
You mean like maybe there's something about those habanero seedlings themselves?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what about the plant's chemical makeup? Could there be subtle differences between the two seedlings that are influencing the whiteflies?
I never thought about that. Like maybe one seedling just smells better to whiteflies.
It's possible. Remember, plants produce all sorts of chemical compounds, and even tiny variations in those compounds, even between plants of the same variety, can affect how pests behave.
So even though Ang seedlings are all habaneros, there could be subtle differences that are making one more appealing to the
Well,
whiteflies.
exactly. It's like each plant has its own unique chemical fingerprint.
And those whiteflies are following their noses to the tastiest one.
Right. Which brings up a really important point. Diversity is key. Even within a single species, there's a ton of variation, and that variation can have a huge impact on interactions with pests.
It's like the more diverse our gardens are, the more resilient they'll be.
Exactly. And Maybe instead of just trying to eliminate pests, we need to focus on understanding these complex interactions.
It's like becoming a detective, figuring out the hidden language of the garden.
I love that. It's a whole new way of thinking about gardening.
And it makes me realize we've been so focused on the whiteflies that we haven't really talked about Aang's role in all of this. Could their actions, even unintentionally, be contributing to the problem?
That's a great point. The gardener's part of the ecosystem, too.
So it's possible that Aang is accidentally creating conditions that are attracting the whiteflies to that one seedling.
It's definitely worth considering. Like maybe they're watering that seedling a bit more, making it more juicy and appealing to the whiteflies.
Or maybe they spilled some fertilizer near it accidentally.
Right. Even small things can make a difference.
So we have to be mindful of our actions, pay attention to the details.
Absolutely. Observation is key. Notice any changes in your plants, and don't be afraid to experiment with different techniques.
It's like we're all citizen scientists in our own gardens.
Exactly. Always learning, always observing.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive. We started with those picky whiteflies and ended up exploring all sorts of fascinating connections.
I know, right? From plant stress and soil health to insect behavior and even the role of the gardener.
But before we wrap things up, I want to make sure we recap the key takeaways from our exploration of Aang's whitefly mystery.
Okay, let's retrace our steps. We started with that observation that whiteflies are only interested in one of Aang's habanero seedlings.
Yeah, the larger one, maybe it's just more inviting to the whiteflies, more space for them.
Exactly, more shelter, more room to lay eggs, the whole 9 yards.
Right, and then that second theory, the weakened plant theory. That was really interesting.
It is fascinating how plants react to stress, how those chemical signals can attract pests,
Yeah, it's like they're calling for help, but the whiteflies are the only ones listening.
unfortunately. But we also talked about how we can help our plants be more resilient, how to build up their defenses.
Yeah, that whole discussion about soil health, that was eye-opening.
It really is amazing the role that those microbes play.
They're like a secret army protecting our plants.
Exactly. And then there's the whole idea of each plant having its own unique chemical fingerprint, which could explain why those whiteflies are being so picky.
Yeah, even though they're all habaneros, maybe one seedling just smells irresistible to those whiteflies.
Right. It's like they're following their noses to the gourmet habanero.
And I think the big takeaway there is diversity is key.
Absolutely. The more variety we have in our gardens, the less likely we are to have these massive pest outbreaks.
So, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket or all your habaneros in one pot.
Exactly. And then we also talked about, the gardener's role in all of this.
Yeah, how even our small actions can have big consequences, good or bad.
It's a good reminder that we're part of the ecosystem too, not just, outside observers.
We have to be mindful of how we interact with our gardens.
Absolutely. Pay attention, observe, experiment.
Be a citizen scientist in your own backyard.
Exactly. Well, I think that about wraps it up for our deep dive into Aang's whitefly mystery.
This has been such a fascinating exploration, so many unexpected twists and turns.
I know, it just goes to show there's always more to learn.
Absolutely. So to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep those gardens growing.
Happy gardening, everyone.
And until next time, keep on diving deep.